Professionals in the heating and air conditioning business, if you want to be seen as a pro, you got to be a pro. And one of the things you got to understand is that you don't get paid for what you do, you get paid for what you know. You know, back in the 1980s in the former Soviet Union, many of you may remember there was a nuclear plant at Chernobyl that melted down. What many of you may not know is that there was a second plant a couple of months later that almost the same thing happened. The plutonium rods began to overheat. But this time, instead of just sitting back to see what happens, they got a German guy that designed and engineered the plant. They got him on the phone. They said, man, you need to get out here and make sure this thing does not melt down. We cannot have another Chernobyl. So the guy gets on the plane, he flies into Moscow, they take him out to the plant. When he gets to the plant, it's total chaos. I mean, alarms are going off, red lights are flashing, they've abandoned the plant, they're evacuating the town. I mean, this is potential total nuclear devastation. But this guy walks in, cool as a cucumber, goes down about 6 flights of stairs and goes down to the basement, basically the bowels of this nuclear plant. They've got these cooling towers that basically house the plutonium rods to keep them cool. And he's right there at ground zero. I mean, if this thing overheats, if this thing melts down, he's gonna go in a flash. But he walks right through all this chaos. He walks up to a big wall. There's all these valves and all these gauges. The guy looks at the wall for a second. He looks at one particular gauge, one particular valve. He reaches in and he closes the valve. Instantaneously, the pressures start coming down, the temperatures start coming down. Total nuclear devastation avoided. So the guy goes back to Germany, and about a month later he sends the bill to the Soviet government. When he sends the invoice, it's a one-line item invoice. It says, averting nuclear disaster, $100,000. So they get the bill and they say, $100,000? You weren't here but 15 minutes. We want a detailed breakdown of your invoice. So he sends the Soviet government another invoice. This time, there's 2 line items. The first line said, closing valve and averting nuclear disaster, $1. The second line said, knowing which valve to close, $99,999. In the residential heating and air conditioning business, you don't get paid just for what you do. You get paid for your years of experience. So the next time a homeowner asks you to drop the price, you gotta think like a nuclear service technician. You gotta think like a professional. You gotta remember, you get paid for knowing which valve to close.